Hello, welcome to episode 12 of the Many Worlds Tavern podcast. Today I'm hanging out with Catherine. What's up, Catherine?
Hello.
We're talking about Many Worlds things, the holiday season wrap up, some new products that we just released, a little announcement about Discord game nights, and then the main topic, I think we're going to talk about the OGL, the open gaming license with D&D.
Yeah.
Everything is on fire.
A little bit.
Catherine is she's up in the she's got the details for us. So we'll get into that, some Q&As, and then our usual stuff. So what's up, Catherine? What's new Many Worlds life?
Not a lot. I think we finally recovered from doing 2 conventions within a month.
Yeah.
2 of our first real conventions also on top of that. And then PAX was our first large scale convention. That was exhausting, but a ton of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, now we're already almost through January and already looking to our next PAX, which will be even more exciting.
Yeah. Learned
Hopefully.
a lot from PAX.
So much.
We learned a lot about shipping and
Staffing, inventory.
Yeah, all the procedures that happened before and after.
Yeah.
Turns out the booths don't just magically appear there. You have to set everything up and
turns out when you have a pretty booth, people like to talk to you.
Yeah.
Which was pretty cool.
Which is awesome, which is the goal. But
Yeah.
we probably need some more folks on the floor.
Yeah, we were definitely running around like chickens with our heads cut off.
Yeah.
But it was a really good time.
Really good time. I've never been to Philly before, so
Yeah.
that was exciting.
We stayed in Chinatown. We ate a lot of really good food.
Yeah, our Airbnb was like the penthouse above a karaoke bar, which is,
Yeah.
it was a good vibe.
It was great. We went back to one restaurant on our last night
Yeah.
because it was so good the first night. We were like, I still want Chinese food.
Cool. Holiday season. We've finished with December. I guess kind of. I don't think we've really done a podcast in all of December, so we've been behind. But it's a good problem because we got to send out so much stuff.
Yeah.
In December, I think
because we had BGG Con in Dallas, and then we had Black Friday, and then we had PAX, all within like 3.5 weeks.
Yeah.
So, and you were out of town.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just like, it was one thing after another, and we got through it all.
We did.
Pretty solidly.
Pretty solid. I think the December Treasured Realm sold out on like the 3rd day.
That was crazy.
And we had some issues with the inventory. It's a lot of my fault, but
that was a little stressful, but we got through it.
Yeah. I think people have their coffee, which is awesome.
We upped our quantity for Treasured Realm to 500 now because we were selling out so consistently. And we've all, after PAX, we got a lot more wholesale inquiries about like local game stores wanting to carry our coffee, which is really crazy and really exciting and really cool. But also another thing we had to figure out and add on to and reformulate. And I think we're doing okay.
Yeah. It's January, new year. We're figuring it out. I think we're going to have a good year again. Lots of new stuff. The convention circuit is something looming. We've kind of scheduled it out for the whole year. In the short term, we released some new products. We got
a couple new things.
A new token pack. If you've bought our coffee or tea before, on the back of or included with each bag is an info card about the coffee or tea you bought. But on the back, there's always been, we added these Magic the Gathering tokens on the back. But now you can buy them by themselves. So we released a pack of 20 cards front and back. So there's 40 tokens inside.
Yeah.
They're very fun.
They're a lot of cool. I mean, they're like if you're collecting them, they're all kind of the same things. But if you're a big Magic player, we've had people tell us like, I'm specifically building, a vampire deck, or I'm specifically building a goblin deck or a wizard deck, and like having these is really fun. I don't know what any of that means, but I'm really glad that we can help.
Andrew is the main Magic player, and even he has been out of the game for a bit.
Yeah.
We had a phase, and
I heard
that was like, we are gonna go back into Magic, and then there was this release called Kamigawa, and we were like, okay, this is it. We're gonna be Magic players. And then I think we got really hyped on it. We bought a lot of stuff. And then like literally the week after the release, the content creators that we were working with were like, all right, here's the next release. And it was like, oh, I think we got a little overwhelmed. It's like, oh, you have to like, this is your whole hobby. This is like a lifestyle to keep up. So yeah, it's a fun game. But
I've never been a trading card game person, but I respect the hustle.
Yeah, maybe there's this Disney one coming out.
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe this is your time to become fully in on a trading card game.
Just lean into the Disney adult.
No, yeah. I'm pretty excited for it.
We also have a bunch of print to order stuff now. If you want coasters, we have some different size canvases. We have wrapping paper. We have a couple of pet bandanas. We also got some new playmats with our tea art.
These are not print order. These are inventory.
Yeah, we have these. This is my favorite one. This is the one I keep at my desk.
It's very good.
It's the Sage Gate. And then we also got some for our spiced sands, our chai.
Yeah.
It's also really gorgeous. I just realized I picked two of the two tea art mats by the same artist, but that's okay.
That is okay.
We only have 4 of them. We don't have all 9 of them, but we picked the prettiest ones that we could blow up the most. They look great.
Yes.
I'm obsessed with it.
Yeah. Honestly, for some reason, we've gotten prints and stuff too. For some reason, the colors really pop on the mats. Like, I don't know. They look really good.
Yeah.
So, highly recommend.
They're beautiful.
Cool. Last thing, Discord night. We play game nights on our Discord. Again, with December, it was a little busy, so I didn't get a chance to set any up. But January is a new month, new year. We're playing some more often. Yesterday night, we played this game called I'm Sorry, Did You Say Street Magic? And it's like a city building, setting building game. You can play it just by itself, or you can play it to set up a setting for your campaign, which I think if I get into a campaign, I think I'd love to do this kind of activity before.
Gamifying it.
Yeah, gamifying it. It's also like, it gives, it's a different thing than like the DM crafting the whole world, which if you're the DM that does that, that's awesome. But I kind of like the idea that like
you have a little bit of ownership.
You have a bit of ownership into the setting. You kind of get an idea of like what the DM has to come up with in this activity. So yeah, really had a lot of fun. Ours went really silly. We came up with this town that was like, the game starts off, you pick 3 like adjectives for the town. So I think we picked eclectic, ornate, and groovy. So
that's good.
It ended up being like a New Orleans, like one step in the future with like force field gates and roads and stuff, but then like one step in the past, but then like ornate like palaces and government buildings. It was very fun.
It's kind of cool.
There was a drug ring. Isn't
there always?
There were drugs that were hidden. Something happened where the mayor of the town, who was seemingly like immortal, like left the city shopping center with tons of bagels, and he was leaving in a rush, like kind of DL, but somebody saw him. Turns out the drugs were laced in the cream cheese of the bagels.
The mayor was running the drug ring?
The cream cheese drug is magical, and it was giving him immortality. Yeah. So the supplier of the cream cheese, that was part of the mystery. It's a great game. I'm sorry. Did you say Street Magic? I really recommend. It was in one of those big itch bundles. If you are a mainly D&D player or bigger company RPG player, and you haven't discovered Itch is an awesome website that compiles lots of small indie RPGs, lots of one-shots. That's how we got
the one that Hannah played.
Yeah, The Wretched.
Yeah. I guess that's how Andrew got The Wretched, because I think he had the copy.
Yeah, so that is a really fun place. It's so fun because you buy these PDFs or books, and it really just feels like one person wrote it, got an artist and commissioned an artist to get it finished and published, and it's like, oh, this is such a cool little project.
Yeah.
It's like you want to support. So yeah, that's a really fun one. I'll put a link in the description for that.
Next. What we're drinking.
Oh yeah, what we're drinking. We have been testing lots of teas.
Yeah, I was going to use it as a little segue to what you can expect, I think, this year.
Mm-hmm.
We've been drinking a lot of new teas.
Yeah.
Trying some really weird ones, trying some really cool ones, some very special ones. What we're drinking right now is a raspberry green tea. It's very tasty.
It's good. It's sweet. It's sweet, but not like too cloying or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And the green tea is like a nice compliment without like overpowering it.
Yeah, I think it pairs well with the raspberry of like borderline tart, but the green tea kind of pulls it back a little bit, which I think is nice.
Yeah, a nice balance.
And that's coming from somebody. I just told Chris and Andrew this. I used to eat lemons as a kid. Like I love tart things. But I think this is a really nice balance. And it's like lower caffeine, which is also nice for a green tea, because sometimes those can get really, really highly caffeinated. And if you don't like caffeine, it's a little bit easier of a segue into something like green teas.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think this is definitely going to be one of our soon-to-come teas.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully we'll be expanding tea. We'll be expanding coffee. We've got lots of ideas.
Very excited for new coffee.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes. Like we do month to month different Treasured Realm coffees, but like other than the Treasured Realm, there hasn't been a new coffee since Many Worlds started.
Yeah. We started with the 4 blends, and it's time.
Yeah.
It's time.
It'll
the
be
research
really cool.
has started. Yeah.
It'll be really cool. It'll take probably a little bit to get everything, really up and running. But I think that there's a lot of options and a lot of cool stuff that we can try and bring and put out with Many Worlds that we're excited about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the Many Worlds update. Do you want to talk about your game? What's happening, Kathy? Why are they doing this?
So if you didn't know, I'm going to try and keep this so short because I was trying to explain it to our roaster a couple weeks ago, and I think I talked
really
for like
went
30
for it.
minutes.
Yeah.
If you didn't know, Wizards of the Coast, the people who publish D&D and Magic the Gathering, are owned by Hasbro, like the toy company. And through various events and decisions and corporate existence in a capitalist society that we live in, they tried to pull the open gaming license. Well, tried. Wizards of the Coast isn't going to say that. They sent out an updated licensing agreement to a bunch of creators and third-party publishers like Hit Point Press and Kobold Press and Paizo and bigger D&D creators and all these things. And for me, it's a little unclear. Again, I'm not a journalist. I'm not a creator.
You're not a lawyer?
I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a huge third-party publisher. A lot of what Wizards of the Coast was circulating and what people were worried about doesn't directly affect me as a player. But it affects people that like I support and like I choose to give money to, and like I choose to like support with views and comments and subscriptions and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a little unclear if Wizards of the Coast sent out these drafts with like an NDA to like not discuss it, or with like a contract of this is being implemented in 7 days. You're either with us or you're not. So that in and of itself is a little murky. But then it was very much like the language that got leaked by a couple of different creators and verified by a few different publications was like, if you published under the new license called OGL 1.1, Wizard of the Coast could implement a license back agreement where if you were using their license to publish content, they owned it, so they could republish what you made willy-nilly. And then there was also like a if you're making a certain amount of money, that you had to do income reporting, royalties threshold to like kind of curb really, really big creators like Critical Role, like Paizo, like a lot of those other things, people that do really large scale kind of productions and stuff like that. Nowhere near to the degree that Wizards of the Coast does, because they do like millions and millions of dollars of profit a year. Or not profit, revenue at least. So then everyone in the D&D world freaked out, and they were like, ho, 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 ho. What does this mean? Like, does this mean that we can't have podcasts? Does this mean that we can't have actual plays? Does this mean that we can't publish, our own homebrew classes? Does this mean that we can't do anything? Like virtual tabletops, like Foundry. And
it affects us too in many worlds, because we weren't sure. We have Isabel on the site that's free. We do the magic items.
Yeah.
We're still kind of floating and not sure what we're going to be able to do.
The magic item was, like, do we keep publishing a D&D item, or do we need to do something completely different? Mm-hmm. So it was like, it was touching like every part of like virtual fan content, creator content, publisher content, just because it was expansive but still incredibly vague, like any good contract.
And I think that one big thing was like, it seemed like they gave themselves the right to change it so quickly.
Yeah.
And they
were also trying to essentially revoke the OGL that was in existence, the 1.0 that's been in place for like going on 10-ish years. It's effective for like 20 plus years of D&D content. It seemed like they were trying to revoke it, and like you can't really do that because it's like, okay, well, that's kind of goes against the point of an open gaming license. And then like what happens if like we republish something that was used, that 1.0 used, or what happens if we do anything else with like content we've already published? And like, at what point can Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro copyright game mechanics like rolling a die? Is it just like they're copyrighting, calling it an athletics check, based on strength, or like, lots of things. So people were very, very nervous. It took Wizards of the Coast like over a week, or about a week.
They were so quiet for so long.
They released a statement that was like really pandering and kind of condescending, in my opinion. And like one line that people were like taking a deep amusement of was, it's going to seem like people are going to say that they won and we lost, and that's not true. We all win. And it's like
so bad. I think we were in the cupping lab when we read that together, and I was like, yo. It was like it memed itself already out of the gate.
It amuses me when corporations and companies would like, we live in the world we live in, right? Like every company, whether you're a nonprofit, whether you're a local game store, whether you're Hasbro, whether you're Apple, has the profit-making motivation, right? Like that's how you survive. It's how you pay your employees. It's how you make profit. It's how you make money. And like the personification of corporations deeply amuses me.
Comes out.
And I have to, like it's just really wild. And then they took one of the lead designers, and then a few days later he put out a statement, and he was like, like, we're sorry, we're really trying to make this right. We're gonna do a survey. We want we want everyone's contribution to this. Like, we don't want to, affect what you're like, how you're playing your game. And then they pivoted, and they were like, no. We want to revise the open gaming license so there's like no hateful content being published, or harmful content, or discriminatory content, which is like really wild. That's the route they took, instead of just being like, yeah, we're just trying to control NFTs of like people potentially making tens of thousands of dollars off of like D&D, which like I don't love NFTs, but I'm sure the reasons that I don't love NFTs and Wizards of the Coast don't like NFTs are completely different. But it was just a really weird pivot to like, oh no, everything that we did, like this new license isn't going to have royalties, and it's not going to have income reporting, and it's not going to have a license back, and like everything you've already published will be fine under 1.0, but we are going to revoke 1.0, but we're going to be the ones that determine what hateful, discriminatory, harmful content means. And then I was like, what? It was like some of the biggest issues that people have had when it comes to like D&D content in the past few months. Back in like September, there was the whole Spelljammer issue that D&D Wizards of the Coast published, and there was the Hazard, which was like an incredibly poorly and racistly, constructed content. And then they were like, we didn't have the oversight. It's like, you guys make almost like $1 billion. You guys should be able to have the oversight. But that's neither here nor there. Even in like Curse of Strahd, Van Richten's Guide to Ravencroft, there are some very heavy topics covered in D&D source books, like trigger warning topics that are like kind of overt.
Yeah.
And like part of that is like, you're playing an adventure and a hero in a world that's like stricken with evil. Like, you need a target, right? Like, you have to figure out what is the bad guy. How do we fix this world? How do we, have the hero's journey, like called to the journey through the whole process and like 13 steps to like defeating the evil and like becoming whole and become like completing your story. Like, you have to have bad guys, but it's like, do we really want to give Wizards of the Coast the singular power to determine what's hateful or harmful? Because that's kind of what the language is right now, which is really crazy. Then there's also like survey drama, like people being like, they don't actually read surveys, and then Wizards of the Coast being like, no, we do, and then people being like, okay, well, how do you do it? And not a lot of transparency going on.
So you quit.
The good thing is,
we're not sure, I guess.
Yeah,
we'll see. We're still kind of in limbo because they sent out new drafts. There's a lot of discourse about the survey process that they're taking.
Yeah.
There's still not like an irrevocable clause in the new drafts.
There's also the issue with like virtual tabletops and what that looks like, and like they're concerned about like, D&D from a table becoming a video game, which like, I guess that's fair from like a business perspective, but it's also like, if somebody wants to like get a little team together and program a platform where that's like really cohesive and works for them and let other people use it to run their games, like it's 2023. Like, people play games virtually. That's just kind of how it is. So yeah, I think that there's a lot that they are trying to fix, but it's still very much like we're walking back from a very, very blatant mistake that we made. Whether that was Hasbro, whether it was Wizards of the Coast, whether it was whatever, I think a lot of people are really upset. But the good news is, you can kind of find the rules and stuff everywhere online.
Yeah, playing is not the... You can always keep playing, it seems. It's
like, I still have 2 campaigns going.
We'll see what happens with the community and the...
Yeah. Because there's a lot of third-party publishers
content,
releasing the open RPG.
Not sure.
Something license. Creator license. That's what it is. Open RPG creator license. With like a lot of the really, really big third-party creators. And like that's going to be held in Creative Commons, which is like a whole other thing. But I do think it's kind of pushing people to realize that there's a lot of RPGs out there beyond Dungeons and Dragons. So like, I'm personally kind of excited to see if I can force my friends to learn Pathfinder or play Pathfinder with me. I'd love to run like a 1 or 2 shot and see how that works. Mm-hmm. We have a ton of RPGs here. Like we've played Tea Time Adventure from Snowbright. We have a copy of Ryutama that we picked up from PAX Unplugged.
a few people on the Discord got their Avatar
The Last
Kickstarter.
Airbender. Yeah.
So I'm trying to get in on some.
Yeah. There's so much you can play beyond Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
And I think people, and like there are systems built for different things, right? Like there's Star Wars systems and like Star Combat and, you know, Lord of the Rings and blah, 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 and dragons or super cute and lovely and cozy gaming or like solo gaming or period pieces and Regency. There's a ton. There's so much. There's so much that people have written and created that's out there to play. So I'm intrigued.
I think for me, from the outside looking in, basically, the sad part, I think, you know, whatever terms come to pass, the sad part is it felt like the OGL is kind of like a cultural touch point of RPG culture. It's like, I think that I've seen some discourse about this too online of like, the people outside of D&D that are like looking into the OGL, like also like the Legal Eagle video. A lot of people kind of weigh in like, well, it's kind of crazy that they allowed this thing in the first place. That's where some of the like apologists for the like D&D is under monetized like statement come from. But that's kind of like one of the reasons it's so cool. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why it's been so successful is because it's allowed it to be so open. Yeah. So at some point it's just sad.
The Star Wars RPG is technically published under the OGL 1.0. And like Disney like isn't gonna just like, you know, keel over. And they might have struck a separate deal. We have no idea.
I think it is safe, but
and like
it's just sad, man. It's like this was like not the thing to, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then like we think about the fact that like last year Hasbro kind of had like a kerfuffle in their investor and board stuff, like corporate wise. And this is probably a trickle down effect from that. And like buying D&D Beyond is probably a trickle down effect from that. And the D&D movie that's coming out this year is probably a trickle down effect from that. All from a bunch of people in a corporate room or not, maybe they, I don't know. They're not active members of the TTRPG gaming community. And I think a lot of people are just kind of sad to see, I guess, like a lack of thought and a lack of respect.
That's what it feels like, yeah.
Because if Wizards of the Coast came into this whole conversation with the idea of like, hey guys, like D&D has changed over the past 15 years, vastly over the past 5 years. We need to adjust how we're using this. These are our thoughts. Yeah. Can you guys contribute? What do you think? But that's just, they just kind of went a nuclear route. And I think a lot of people see that and feel rightfully scorned and are rightfully in the camp that, you know, I'm going to keep playing Dungeons and Dragons, but I'm not going to give Wizards of the Coast any more of my money. So yeah, it's kind of crazy.
We'll see. It in a weird way exciting for me because I've been playing mostly tiny RPGs and little weirdo systems to where I'm like, ooh, maybe I can convince more people to play those with me.
Yeah, and I don't know, maybe we'll see a renaissance of one-page RPGs.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see a renaissance of like super accessible, easy to learn, easy to pick up and play RPGs. Maybe we'll see a renaissance or like a surge of really, really niche, crunchy, combat heavy RPGs. But I think people are realizing no one plays D&D rules as written. Like everybody mods it. Everyone has house rules, even if you don't realize you do. No one plays it rules as written to like adjust for the kind of campaign you want and what your table wants. And sometimes there are other systems that you can play rules as written that are a little bit more straightforward, that are exactly what you're looking for. So we'll see.
Okay, we will see. And whatever Many Worlds does with this information, we're still in a holding pattern. Yeah, we'll see. But we're still gonna keep doing fun stuff with RPGs and game adjacent stuff. It just how the extent that that's D&D, we will see.
Yeah. We have lots. It's opened the door for a lot of ideas, I think.
Yeah.
From a lot of different people.
Yeah. Okay, that's the OGL. We've been talking about it for 2 weeks straight.
I'm
job,
so
Catherine.
tired.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
so tired.
And Catherine asked me what the topic was, and I almost didn't want to say the OGL, but I was like, I think let's get it out.
I had to really control myself of like not writing like 6 pages of notes of just like detailing every step of the way and like how this all came to be. But yeah.
Okay, let's move on.
Questions for the pod.
Questions for the pod. If you join us on the Discord, we have a channel in there called Questions for the Pod. Our community members submit in there. Man, I love the Discord lately. It's been so fun. A lot of people joined over December.
Yeah.
Just a lot of new, we just had a lot of new customers.
Post our convention, post all of that stuff.
Fun.
The last time we actually filmed the pod, I was wearing an Argentina rugby shirt.
Oh, yes.
Viva Messi. I love that man. Okay.
Hey, that guy's good at soccer.
I cried. I've been waiting for that moment since I was a child. So exciting. Anyways.
Sweet. Okay.
Let's see.
Questions. Corey posted a question like a year ago. So
there was actually a question before that.
Okay.
From Hercules.
Yeah.
Do we plan on doing snacks?
Snacks.
It seems like you guys are expanding the quote beverages for game night branding.
I love snacks.
I love snacks too.
It's not in the short term. I think that's fun though. I think there's also some infrastructural things that would have to be upgraded at the roastery to produce.
We'll do a tour video
food
one
in
day,
that way.
Eventually, to show you guys like how our roastery, like how the back end works.
Yeah.
I love snacks though.
There's another tier of like
Health and
FDA,
safety.
level for ready to eat, ready to drink stuff. So yeah, we would have to do some like consulting and get the facilities ready for that. But one day, I like snacks.
I love snacks. Oh my
Yeah.
god, we could have a
What's
different
the best
cookie for
snack
every coffee.
What snack would you want? What's the best snack at D&D? I think we've had this conversation.
I think we have had this conversation. I think I've said pizza, and you were like, "But your
As
hands
a board
get
gamer,
dirty."
that's some nightmare. Yeah.
I think
But
I
I
also
can't
said hot
remember.
Cheetos.
Yeah.
I do love fruit. We always have fruit at our table. I don't know if I
Good
mentioned that
choice.
last time.
Good choice. Yeah.
We always have fruit. One of our on one of the campaigns I'm playing, a party member, we all went to the same college, and this party member was a good friend of mine from college, and we would have like weekly cooking nights for a couple of years. And now we have like an anime night that we do, and like it's still like kind of extravagant cooking. So like last time he made like full like turkey leg stew, and it was literally like one of our party members like picked up the turkey leg and like the bone just came up. It was
awesome.
it was fantastic. And like we've done homemade dumplings, we've done all sorts of things. Like, he's so adventurous when it comes to cooking.
Sweet.
And I truly love that he chooses to be a part of our campaign.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Okay. Next question.
Let's see. Now it's Corey's. Is 10-ounce bags the new standard for coffee bags? Well, he said code bags, but I assume he meant coffee bags. I'm seeing them more everywhere now.
Yeah. Boomtown, our sister company, is actually down to 10-ounce bags.
Really?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Well, that is
No,
that is genius marketing
No one tells me
by
anything.
Andrew and I, because yes, that was a push to make them smaller. Yeah, it's just inflation and coffee getting more expensive, or committing to having coffee that's more expensive.
Packaging costs are still crazy.
Packaging costs are crazy. We would prefer, to pay more for coffee I don't know. There's so many trade-offs, pros and cons. One pro of the 10 ounces, the final product or the final price to the consumer is like stays the same over time. But yeah, I do feel sad sometimes when it's like, oh, this is all that's in there. Yeah, I think we're feeling it with tea a bit as well. Because I think when you buy tea, a lot of the time the form factor is way smaller than what we have. But even some of the teas we already have, some of them I feel like are not full enough. We're always messing with that. The teas are a much higher price point than the coffees.
Yeah.
Like per unit.
It's kind of crazy. I mean, I'm sure like if you can tell by like the different price points of a bag of coffee versus like the Verdant Harbor. But it's like, it's significant.
It'll last a lot longer, but what you buy is a higher price. So yeah, it's a balance. Right now we don't have any plans to get smaller than 12 ounce. And I think TKO asks about bigger bags. We are in the process of making some bigger branded bags available. Cause yeah, it'd be great to be able to send out a bigger bag, especially people that subscribe like weekly. If they get a bigger bag every 2 weeks, we still feel pretty good about that freshness level. Yeah, in the works right now. Many Worlds has 12 ounce bags. Yeah.
You answered the question about the bigger bags.
Yeah.
Beta Fox, who I believe is newer to the pod or the Discord.
Yeah, they joined the game night yesterday.
Good for them. They asked, what board games pair well with which coffees and teas?
Good question. There are on the product pages on the site. There are little
Chris
pairs
wrote
with
recommendations for each of them.
A lot of them are like lore theme wise matches with the themes on the bags. Catherine did a lot of great lore writing for the different bags. If you haven't checked out the product pages, yeah, when we got all the new tea art, it was like we need to have a little bit of story related with all this stuff. And we've always had plans with Many Worlds to have like a bit of a universe. Yeah. The MCU, the Many Worlds Cinematic Universe, is coming.
The MWU.
So.
See, if I was just matching things, I would just go by color.
Okay, what color?
Like I would be like Everdell, Verdant Harbor.
Verdant Harbor. That's a good choice. You know, the art. I mean, the vibe of Everdell is pretty good with Verdant Harbor.
I've never played Verdant or Everdell, but I kind of figured.
Yeah.
I can't reach it, but there's a game that we got called Touch It.
Yeah, absolutely ridiculous game, but
I feel like it just matches the same color of Sacred Spring, so I would pick that because they're both kind of like that redishy purple, almost maroon is the color I'm trying to think of. What else?
I'll put in a plug for the RPG Tea Time Adventures. We played that. Catherine mentioned it earlier.
Yeah.
It's about tea.
Yeah, so they're all teas.
Drink tea while you play it.
It's from Snow Bright Studio. We love them.
So good. Do they sell a PDF on the site?
They do.
Okay.
They
so
do. I might be through Drive-Thru RPG.
Okay.
But they definitely have a PDF available rather than just the book.
Yeah.
Just pick one from the shelf. Venom.
Are you deciding if it'll pair right now?
Yeah. I told you I would just go by colors. I guess I need to pick a coffee.
True.
Never mind. Heat, Pedal to the Metal. We're gonna go Dragon's Nest.
Why?
I don't know. I've heard it's chaotic.
It's a little chaotic.
Dragon's Nest is the bold, kind of weird coffee.
Got you. Yeah, check out the product pages. There's little pairs wall with things in there.
Boop, everything.
Is a good one.
It's cat themed. Everything has a cat.
I'm gonna drink the chamomile with Boop. It's sleepy themed. Yeah, Boop is good.
What else? We should have a space themed art.
I agree. We need some more sci-fi.
Yeah.
Right now,
we can make some
Electric
art
Sheep
that would.
is kind of cyberpunky, and
I'm looking at the crew, and I'm like, we need more
spaceships.
We need more space.
True. I think you're right.
We need more space. Do you have any other takes?
I think that's it. Check the product pages. There's also photos floating around. We took photos of the tea next to games that have similar vibes.
I changed my mind. Kodama, Golden Roots. There we go.
Oh. Okay.
There we go. Last question from 10th Walker.
Yeah.
What are some dream partnerships for the company? Brands, influencers, product pairings, bundles?
Brand first. What brands? I know Andrew really would love to
Dimension
work with
20.
Dimension 20, yeah.
I would.
Wait, is
Gabe,
that a brand or isn't there a content creators later?
Yes.
Okay. You can just give it out.
Ooh.
That's the dream.
I would lose my mind. I would lose my mind. Same thing with the Adventure Zone. I love the Adventure Zone. I love Dimension 20 so much. We saw Gabe Hicks with like Session Zero at PAX Unplugged, and me and Antonio kept walking by the booth and like not putting two and two together just because like we couldn't wrap our heads around the fact that like it was Gabe Hicks Session Zero, and like we're both big fans of theirs, and it was just like Gabe's business partner Elise. We got to chat with her shortly.
Yeah.
So wonderful. We loved her.
Wonderful.
But like we walked back up at the end of the convention, and I was like, I'm so sorry that I didn't put two and two together. Like, I'm just gonna blame how busy the booth was, and like I didn't have like brain space to think about anything. But Session Zero I think would be really cool.
Yeah.
We've got something coming up soon with Snowbright for one of their RPGs that's coming out. That'll be really cool. But yeah, Dimension 20. Dimension 20 would be so cool.
That'd be cool. If you guys have any plugs to Dimension 20,
Lou Wilson,
just send them this
up.
clip. Send them this clip of Catherine.
I'm holding myself back from crying.
Microphone. Cool. I know Andrew really would love the Leader Games artwork. It kind of captivates both of us.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we've got one back here. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
This company has awesome artwork. We're kind of building a brand on the backs of awesome artworks. So
there's also some cool stuff.
It'd be so cool to work with Leader Games.
The distant possibility of working with someone like Roxley Games came up recently. Not even like in conversation, just very much like, oh, like that could be cool.
That's a cool company. Yeah.
Their art is also really sick. Who else? Influencers? Anybody specific?
My favorite board game YouTube channel, I think, is dead. I'm very sad. They haven't posted it in like 2 years. And I think they're criminally underwatched.
That's
I'm going to plug them because there's this channel called Inside the Box. They were doing skits with like effects. Like I think the person making them like is a filmmaker.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they just went extra with like how they make their reviews and plays and stuff. And if you guys are still out there, know that you had a huge fan in me, and I hope you guys are still come back. If you make stuff again, hit us up and I want to collab. Inside the Box.
Mm-hmm.
Look them up.
Yeah. The cool thing is like we've already worked with some really, really cool creators.
Mm-hmm.
And we've worked with a couple of really cool brands. We work with Keymaster pretty regularly.
Yeah.
And like we've sponsored stuff with Jenny D, Tellurian Community College.
I have some other favorite YouTubers, but they're European. Like Shut Up and Sit Down would be so cool to work with, and no pun included. But they're European, which sounds weird. They're great. I love Europeans, but
Speaking of,
it's not our main market. So
speaking of, we do think we'll probably have a video coming out on the Oxventure actual play. We'll probably be working with them on a one shot coming up, and they're UK based.
Yeah. If we had better distribution partners, like once that becomes part of Many Worlds, I'm gonna reach out as soon as possible. But
the cool thing is, like, a lot of people in the gaming industry and in the board gaming world and like RPG adjacent are all like really, really nice.
Oh yeah.
People are really nice. Like, super excited to work together, figure something out.
Yeah.
Are super flexible. It's really cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool. We did send some stuff. We sent some tea to one of my favorite cozy gamers. Her name is Kennedy. Just cozy.k, I think, like on Instagram. She's just adorable and I love her. I've gotten several of her game recommendations and I was like, we could just see if we can send her tea. And we did. And then she followed us and I was like, oh my God, a fan. But yeah, off the top of my head, like you say Dream, and I'm just gonna Dimension 20 and the Adventure Zone by far.
Yeah. The only name I can think of left is I really like this game designer named Eric Lang.
Yeah.
He's my fave, but he makes huge, like, I don't know. I don't really see Many Worlds being part of a board game he designs, but who knows? Maybe one day.
We follow him on Twitter.
Yeah.
He's really interesting.
He seems interesting, and I really vibe with his game design. So
cool. Product pairings or bundles?
Product pairings or bundles? I don't know. There's a portion of the Discord called Battle Stations, which is like your coffee setups. And I have been on Reddit. There's lots of these communities like desk battle stations and coffee stations and stuff. I just would love just a complete Many Worlds, like custom pour over everything. Like,
oh my God,
custom,
a kettle,
custom.
But the spout is a cat's tail.
Okay, I probably wouldn't get that, but
hear me out. Somebody would get it though.
I just think it sucks because I am like a gearhead type personality, so I've tried lots of different pour overs, and now I'm at the point where like I can't justify like getting rid of what I have and getting exactly what I want. But if I could go back and with my like experience now, I'd be like, this is what I would have. And I like doing this exercise in my head of like, this is the dream setup. If Many Worlds could just make that bundle, that'd be sick. Yeah. Problem is, it's not all from the same company. But I guess if Fellow is like the most popular, if they wanted to reach out and be like, yo, let's collab, that'd be really cool. We have lots of Time More products in the shop. They have a much more accessible price point, and there's a local vendor in Houston that we're good friends with, so it made sense. Yeah. I also love the idea of partnering with a ceramicist. Like really cool, weird, unique handmade ceramics.
There was a point on our Many Worlds Instagram feed, like we were just getting really, really niche like tea content of like weird cups, weird brewers, and ceramic making.
Yeah.
There was a point, and I was like,
well, it's because I just went to the Philippines. My cousin owns a ceramics studio there. She teaches classes, and yeah, they have really, really cool, unique stuff. I'm so sad I left a mug there. There was
the one you guys made.
Well, those are still on the way because they weren't going to be ready by the time we left.
Oh, okay.
But there was one mug she gave my parents that I claimed as soon as I saw it. It's like a mug with like little eyeballs
God.
Coming out. it is so creepy, but in a really kind of cute way too.
Yeah.
So I need to fly back and get yeah, plug for Boomy and Ash. If you're in the Philippines, in Manila, go there. But yeah, a cool handmade ceramic would be so fun to pair with a coffee.
Yeah. I don't know enough about products.
That's fair.
Or equipment products, that is. I like things that look pretty.
We're getting there with, I like playmats. We did it.
Yeah. That was pretty cool.
It'd be cool to partner with some mini sculptors.
Yeah.
It would be really fun to have some custom.
We've shot that idea
minis.
around a little bit.
Yeah.
It'd be really, really cool to have that.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be really cool to do like a RPG and coffee pairing for each coffee and tea that we have. So like whether it's like a different RPG game or a different RPG setting for each of our products, that would be really cool. Yeah.
It'd be really cool to have some kind of cosplay product bundled up. I don't know if there's like some fantasy tavern keeper cosplay items that, I don't know. I just want some gauntlets or something. Mini Worlds branded.
I
Yeah.
think that's fair.
Yeah. That's what I got.
Cool.
That's the questions.
That's the questions.
Okay. We did it. Last thing.
Recommendations.
Recommend anything.
You
If you didn't know, every episode we recommend something. We unchain ourselves from the world of coffee, tea, and gaming and just talk about anything. I think I got movies on my mind because I became that level of pretentious movie person to get a Letterboxd finally.
You asked me about it
I
last
asked you
week.
because I wanted to add you if you had one.
And I've been thinking about it every day. And then you put it in the Discord that you made one. And I was like, shoot, I think I'm going to make one.
So my little sister has a bit of like a general resolution to watch more movies. She is a copy editor for a website now. And
I've been keeping track, like on a different note, what movies I'm watching. So I'm like, I might as well already
might
have.
as well. You might as well. So she's trying to log her movies. Oh, she works for this publication. And I don't know if it's through her union or what, but she gets sent advanced copies of movies.
That's crazy.
Which is crazy and awesome. And yeah, so she's like, well, I think I should become a movie person. So she started doing Letterboxd with her boyfriend too.
I've already watched 17 movies this year.
That's crazy. I haven't.
And that's on top of like, I've also been keeping up with Dimension 20's Never After. And I'm almost finished with Court of Fey and Flowers from Dimension 20. I'm also listening to like 3 different podcasts.
Yeah.
I have a lot of free time right now.
I feel like you would love the Letterboxd culture as well, because it is lots of like tweet style shit posting in the reviews.
That's
like
Chris knows my brand.
There's this review. Have you seen the menu yet?
Yes.
Okay, there's this review of the menu. I gotta pull it up. I have to read it to you. I don't want to quote it wrong.
I see them every now and then when they like cross over to Twitter. They always make me laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I need to read.
I
this
have
out
two
loud
of my
verbatim.
my 2 best friends are very, very
movie
snobs, and I'm like, should I cross that line?
Okay, this review's for the menu. Ralph Fiennes served and Anya Taylor-Joy ate, and I'm like, come on, that's so good. 4 stars.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to, especially because like one of my favorite like small business brands is Super Yaki, which I think I've talked about several times, and they're movie fans. Yeah, that's all they do. Okay. I think you've convinced me.
Well, I wasn't gonna really just recommend Letterboxd.
Right. We're doing recommendations.
I was gonna recommend. My wife kind of gets mad at me because I tell people, "Oh, this is like one of my favorite movies," but the list is pretty long, I feel. She's like, you've never said that's your favorite. And I'm like, yeah, but it still is.
There are favorites for different situations.
Okay.
There are favorites like I would never recommend to my parents, but like I would recommend like friends. Like I think everybody should watch this.
That's fair.
They're different situations. Okay. You should have a top 10 list for like 7 different things.
Yeah. But now with Letterboxd, I have a canonical Letterboxd top 10 right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives you a top 4 to like show in your profile. But then you can make lists.
What's your top 4?
Top 4. Well, I was going to recommend my number 4, and I'll save my top 4. But number 4 is one I don't think I've ever talked to my wife about. So she'll probably be mad that it's like, what are you talking about? This is one of your favorites? And be like, I don't need to defend myself, my opinions. Okay, my top 4. And the first 3 I think I've talked about with her. Number 1 was Ip Man. Ip Man is number 1.
That's on my Netflix list right now.
Okay, highly recommend. Number 2, it's cheesy and I won't apologize for it, but Good Will Hunting is number 2. Number 3 is The Matrix. Number 4 is Annihilation. You seen Annihilation?
I haven't.
Okay, Annihilation.
I'm writing it down.
It is my pretentious pick to make sure that not all 4 of my movies are mainstream. I guess Ip Man is kind of cool and hip.
Yeah, it's cool now.
But yeah, Annihilation. It has Natalie Portman.
Yeah.
Basically, there's like
it came out a few years ago, right?
A few years ago. There's this like anomaly. She's like a scientist or something, and she has to go in.
I love Natalie Portman.
Yeah, turns out
I watched V for
she's
Vendetta
incredible.
at a very formative age.
So yeah, I recommend. It is really. It's like. I don't even know if I would call it like a horror movie in the traditional sense, but it is. The themes in it are like horrifying.
Yeah.
Like it's like
because her husband gets lost, right?
That's one of the catalysts for her to go in.
Yeah.
But also she has expertise. Like if she didn't have a personal connection, she might still get chosen to go in. But yeah, her husband never came out of this anomaly. But it has themes that are like the like smallness and like naivety of humans is so small. Like we are so small and kind of like that Eldritch Cthulhu, like we're not even on the radar kind of horror.
Unsettling.
It's unsettling.
Cool.
It's really fantastic. It's not a classic like popcorn movie. And it's kind of confusing, I think. Like at my first watch, I don't know if it like affected me.
That's why.
But it kind of ruminates in your brain and rattles around. It's like, wait, is this what this means?
I refuse to watch Tenet.
You refuse? Wait, you haven't watched it once?
I haven't watched it once.
But why?
Because I won't.
But
I simply refuse.
It's not great, but it's interesting.
I refuse to engage with a movie that was made solely to exist to give you nothing.
Wait, how do you know it gives you nothing?
Because I have
heard
I've heard enough people talk about it.
Yeah.
I think one of my really good friends has seen it. Antonio's seen it. I don't think Hannah's watched it.
Yeah.
But like 9 times out of 10, it's some dude that's trying to justify this is the greatest movie.
It's okay. It's clearly living rent free in your.
It does. It lives rent free in my mind, unfortunately, and I can admit that. But
the logic is not there. It's not there.
Yeah.
That was it.
Oh, that's it?
I was just gonna bring one. Annihilation. Recommend. Maybe I'll do a game.
I brought more than one.
What's a game? Recommend. I've made a video that
you like Phantom Inc. a lot.
Phantom Inc. Game of the Year 2022. I was just gonna say I made a video, top 5 board games of 2022. Please go watch it. I think it's good. I think it's condensed my thoughts in there.
I think you picked ones that weren't getting a lot of attention on like other top 10 lists.
Yeah. I really recommend Keystone by Rose Gauntlet Games. I think it's their first game. Not the first.
It's really beautiful.
Not the first game by the designer, but their first publishing thing. Yeah, it's awesome. Okay, recommends.
I definitely brought more than one thing. Okay, I've been in a rom-com period piece moment in my life. I watched Little Women, the Greta Gerwig Little Women, for the first time.
Oh.
It was wonderful.
That's great.
I cried a lot. It was lovely. It was beautiful. Well made. of course, definitely go watch it. Andor, of course. If you have not watched Andor, for the love of God, go watch Andor, please. Please. It's so good. It's so good. It might be one of like the best prequel content things ever made. Also, if you have a Dropout subscription for the College Humor stuff, they do a show called Game Changer, where
I'm familiar.
Yeah. Their vertical stuff goes viral every now and then, pretty consistently, like on TikTok and stuff. There are 2 episodes based on Survivor.
Go watch them.
They're so funny. It's only it's less than an hour total because their episodes are only typically only 25 minutes.
Yeah.
It was so funny. I was crying laughing.
I feel like I should get an account just to unlock a whole nother section of content to discuss with you. Okay, the Survivor episode.
Yeah. I started a new book recently, but I'm only a chapter into it. Okay. So I don't know. It's called The Actual Star. It's based on Mayan cosmology and history and stuff. It's really interesting so far. But I don't know if I can full-heartedly recommend it because maybe it's terrible. But so far it's really cool.
Yeah. Sweet. Okay.
Go watch Andor.
We're good? Go watch Andor?
Yeah.
And if you are watching The Last of Us, join the Discord because we're going to be talking about it in there.
Yeah. I need to catch up. Luckily, there's only 1 episode I need to watch before this weekend.
Yes, there's only one.
I'm very excited.
Episode 12, Many Worlds Tavern Podcast. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for the wait.
Subscribe to the channel if you want to keep up with us. See ya.